If Reddit existed in 1919, what kind of questions would be asked here? If Reddit existed in 1819, what kind of questions would be asked here? How do I not die of dysentery? Now that we're approaching the 1920s, what are your fondest memories of the 1910s? Polio. Should women vote? 4,000 comments, sorted by controversial. Help me decide if I should go to art school or get into politics. Try for art school. If that doesn't work, go for politics. Since you likely fought in the Great War, you likely have a very accurate perception on geopolitics. Women who show their knees. Why do you hate Jesus? Like women would have been allowed to post on the internet. To those idiots who drive 20 miles per hour in their automobile who hurt you in life, it's funny. At the time they believed that high speeds would impact your insides and cause all sorts of organ damage. Mind you, not from crashes and the like, merely moving at high speed. Is the Spanish flu from Spain? No, it was disinformation. Will this horseless carriage idea last? Cease your nonsense, boomer. What was the most regrettable trend of the 10s? Chemical warfare. When is my city getting electricity? Long-haul stagecoach drivers. What's the spookiest thing you've ever seen on the road? You know they would have some freaky stories. I once saw a jackrabbit with a woman's face. WW1 survivors. How are you doing? It wasn't called WW1 at the time. It was called the Great War. I showed a boy my ankles today. Does that make me a licentious gadabout? While I disagree with your subject matter, I approve of your vocabulary. Licentious gadabout is not a phrase I expected to read today. I second this gentleman's orbital dictum. Was the Titanic a hoax? Icebergs can't break steel hulls. What do women's knees look like? Perf, these young heathens and their open sexuality. One time a flash of ankle was enough to send a room wild, and now we have women walking around with bare ankles and men wanting knees. This generation is disgusting. 8. My 6-year-old son is complaining about going to work today. He says a few of his friends died at work yesterday, and he's been coughing up blood for the last few days. So I beat him and didn't feed him before he left. He's late on his share of rent, and his other 9 siblings are getting upset with him. I want to put him up for adoption. Everyone sucks here. You should have sold at least 2 of them by now. And why aren't the daughters into prostitution? Will the world end in 2000? No, it's gonna end in 2012. Y2K wasn't a thing in people's fears until the late Cold War because computers weren't a thing in 1919. The thing about Y2K was by 2000. Everybody feared that all computers and machines are gonna freak out because of the new millennium. Unix of Reddit. What do you miss most from the Qing dynasty? My balls. Fun fact. Qing dynasty Unix volunteered for the position, and if they showed any hesitation before getting neutered, the operation would be cancelled. Train schedule for today. Early 21st century. Did you know before 9/11 there was an episode of The Lone Gunman in which the government flew a passenger jet into the World Trade Center so they could blame it on terrorists and start a profitable war in the Middle East? Early 20th century. Did you know before the Titanic there was a book about an unsinkable ship, the largest in the world, called the Titan, that hit an iceberg in the North Atlantic and killed a shitload of rich people because it didn't have enough lifeboats? Oh, I haven't heard that one before. Off I go. Feeling feverish? Is this the Spanish flu? Am I going to die? I'd advise you to consult a plague doctor immediately. How do I get stubborn dung stains out of my spats? Which liquor is good for the flu? Opium. How can I stop my kids from being so lazy? All they do is walk 5 hours in snow-filled mountains without shoes to get to school. In 100 years, what will 1919 be remembered for? The beginning of everlasting peace and prosperity. What could go wrong? Askreddit. Do you think this communism thing will end well? Well, those Ruskies are a backward lot anyway. Communism is probably just a trend that will be over by 1920. Do you really believe the 18th Amendment will pass? Kids these days can't write on chalkboards anymore. What are they going to do when they run out of paper? How do I make a shilling in 10 minutes with no effort? Wasn't it Austria-Hungary who started the Great War? Or, I sure hope Austria-Hungary will be forever. Kreisen Kaiser. How do I stop this effing ringing in my ears? Stop holding the telephone up to your ears, grandpapa. It's not your hearing horn. How far has your gangrene traveled up your foot? How do I keep people from finding out I'm a communist? Red Scare. Where can I buy booze secretly? Prohibition. How do I meet an Iceman? So many of them died in the Great War, or are disfigured or shell-shocked, so it's hard meeting eligible gentlemen. I have a fine figure, a nice smile, and am described as sweet and charming by my friends. I don't want to be a spinster any longer, so where are some respectable places besides church to meet them? Tinder. That's how we call the church around here. What's your favorite recipe when you find clean water? OOTL. What's the deal with the White Sox allegedly rigging the World Series? The more things change, the more they stay the same. If the Great War were to happen again, who would be fighting and what would they be fighting over? Good heavens, a second Great War? Surely man is not so foolish. Flappers of Reddit. What is your best experience out on the town? NSFW. If Reddit exists 100 years from now, do you think people will keep reposting the same dummy questions? Who is Franz Ferdinand? NS of Reddit. Why aren't you back in your country? Yeah, Norwegians. Why aren't you? They think Franz Ferdinand killed himself. Archduke Ferdinand gives you a fortune in Swiss francs. You must bury them somewhere in the Oklahoma Territory. If they are found by imperialists, he is shot. If they are not found, you keep them. Where do you hide them? Is the 19th Amendment the end of the world? Gentlemen of Reddit, which sandwich does your lady make best when summoned? Why are you gay? How can we cure this? Which dinosaur is your favorite? 8-4 saying women deserve rights? Women don't deserve rights. When you pick up the telephone, do you believe the crackling noises issuing forth from it are the souls of the dead attempting to communicate with the living? Redditors of Boston Telephone, how is the strike impacting your life? In April of that year there was a mass strike causing telephone operators around New England to abandon their posts. Imagine our personnel finance in 1929. WW1 questions. Yeah, like jazz. I let a German soldier live when I could have killed him, and now I heard that he has started a political career. I'm so happy for him since he failed dart school and was pretty sad about it. Anyways, I hope he reaches high and never allows for a war like the one we met happen ever again. Foreman on French Napoleonic War cavalry support. How did you feel about the dissolution of the Napoleonic Empire? Will there ever be a faster way to access Reddit than by Royal Mail? My good man, your mother, who is of ill repute, has engaged in consensual SUAL intercourse with me last evening, and I must say, it was quite dismal. Not a question, but a nice little retort at least. Can I catch polio from sticking my zipididida in a woman's scrumdiddlyumptious? Those of you who have glimpsed a woman's ankle, what was it like? What do y'all think about that SY look in stock market? What's your best recipe for bathtub gin? Should I ditch my horse and buggy for one of those newfangled automobile thingies, or are they just a fad? If prohibition passes, will you still drink? They have trouble dealing shell shock? Do you think moving pictures really have a future, or are they just a passing fad? I saw The Miracle Man the other day and I got to thinking. Whole lot of racist Change one letter in the title of a talkie. What's it about now? If Reddit existed in 119, what kind of questions would be asked here? Coke-free Coca-Cola, whatever for. I woke up with a dry cough this morning. And my morning poo was a little on the green side. How much coke should I take exactly? Should I allow my wife having her own Reddit account? So I did make a poultice from some foul smelling offal in the city streets to help heal my dear Rebecca's festering teat boil, but it seemed to have the opposite effect, and now both teats are fully involved. Whatever shall I do? How can I get a gay partner without getting killed? Citizens of the Soviet Union, now that it's been 2 years, what are your thoughts on the new regime? Definitely not a setup. Workers in the fields and factories, what's your horrible boss story, besides daily beatings and you aging out of work at 10, that is,